What's the story, Morning Glory? What is the word, Hummingbird? Thank you so much for clicking on my channel because y'all, I have missed y'all so much. I feel like I've been away from the camera for like a whole month. I'm glad that we're back to our regularly scheduled programming, and I hope everybody had a great holiday. I hope everybody had a great New Year's. So let's just get down to business and do what we came here to do, which is to do the work of the Lord when it comes to these idiots on Married at First Sight. So let's start off with Emily and Brennan. So while they're making pizza, Emily tells Brennan that she needs him to open up and to try a little bit harder. Dr. Pia had actually given them an assignment for physical touch, and she had told them that with as little clothing as you feel comfortable with, try to touch each other more. And Brennan says that he really wasn't comfortable with what Dr. Pia recommended, so he's suggesting that they just give each other a hug. And I'm like, what does that do to progress the relationship? How is that progressing the relationship? There's an intimacy issue here. There's an attraction issue here. I don't understand how giving a hug is helping anything. It's like he's almost saying that, I would not normally want to give you a hug, but based on Dr. Pia and what she wants us to do and what I'm comfortable with, I can at least do that. I can at least give you a hug, which to me, you can give a hug to a stranger. So I don't understand how that's progressing anything. Once again, Brennan has to show that he is the one that's in control of the relationship, that he's not going to listen to anybody. He's not going to take anybody's advice. He's just going to do whatever the hell he wants to do because he's just that stubborn. So they hug it out. Moving on from there. The next time that we see Emily and Brennan, they are celebrating their 1 month anniversary at a place called Devil's Thumb Ranch, and they go horseback riding, and Brennan's horse's name was Gucci, right? So it was so funny because you just keep on hearing him say, hey Gucci, slow down Gucci, let's speed it up Gucci. He's like, really communicating and becoming one with this horse. And Emily was so funny because in her confessional she says that there was more sparks between Brennan and Gucci than there has been between her and Brennan. I thought that was hilarious. So then later on they go to dinner, and Brennan says, they're talking about how far they've come, and they're talking about the good, the bad, and the ugly of their relationship. And Brennan says that yes, it has been a lot of fun, we've had a lot of good times, but I'm not going to sugarcoat it and say that it's been all hunky-dory because we have had some issues. And he says it has been difficult because in the past I would have ran from a red flag. He refers to Emily as a red flag. Now, people have said, and I don't even know if it was in my comments or if I read this on a Reddit thread, but people were saying that that the reason why Brennan is not really feeling Emily is because of her past. She has a reputation of being really wild, being like a hardcore party girl, sleeping around, one night stands, hit it and quit it kind of girl. And he knows about this. I don't know if she's told him or other people have told him, but somehow or another, Brennan knows about this. And so, this is the reason why he's kind of like, keeping his distance from her and not really trying to bond with her. If that's how he feels, okay, if you're going to base your present and your future on her past, then why are we here? Then why don't you just get a divorce? If you can't get over the life that she used to live and her prior lifestyle, if you can't get over that and that's what's making you act like this with her, then just get a divorce and move on with your life. I don't understand. If you're really trying to build something with her and you're keeping an open mind and an open heart, then forget about her past. I mean, I'm pretty sure if you compare how many people, well, I don't even know. I'm just saying that we all have a past. We all have a past. He has a past. She has a past. And either you're going to get over the past or you're not going to get over it. And if you're not going to get over it, get a divorce. If you really want to see something come out of this, then forget about her past. Because the way that she's been acting so far on camera, to me, I'm thinking she's doing awesome. She's doing great for someone who's had, I don't know if this is true or not, but for someone who's been a party girl and who has a reputation that precedes her, I think she's doing great. She's acting really classy. She's acting really mature. She's not exhibiting any of the party girl behavior, because I don't remember any names, y'all, but there was that one season where they had the older guy who was with a much younger bride, and she's like in her 20s and he was in his, I think, early 40s, I think. And I can't remember her name. And she was a party girl and she was exhibiting party girl behavior on the show in her marriage. She wasn't trying to hide it at all, because she would tell him things like, I still want to go out with my friends, I still want to party, and there's going to be times that I don't even come home, and you need to be okay with that. And he was like, hell no, I'm not going to be okay with that. And she was exhibiting a lot of party girl behavior on the show. Emily has not been doing that, and I don't know why he can't give her credit, if that's the reason why he's really not bonding with her. If it's because of that, because of her past, like, why don't you give her credit for the fact that she's no longer that? Like, Brennan, you don't know anybody's past, really, truly. The girl that you think was holier than thou and, as pure as the driven snow, probably has a whole bunch of skeletons in her closet as well. But she's on national television where everybody else can out her. So, miss me with all of that. If that's what it is, you can miss me with that. So he tells her that normally he would have ran away from a red flag. And Emily was like, I'm a red flag? And Brennan says, yeah. And the reason why he explained to her, this is the explanation he gave, is why he called her a red flag. Because there was something there between them in the beginning, and now there isn't. So to him, that's a red flag. Like, I'm pretty sure he's holding back a lot. He doesn't want to say what he really wants to say about her, so he's going to be holding back a lot. But he's like, yeah, there was something there before, and now there isn't. And I'm just trying to figure out, was it really a spark, or was it just adrenaline? And so he says, he's going to take it day by day. Now, every time he says, let's just take it day by day, it really irks Emily, because that's all he says. That's how he summarizes everything between them is, hey, let's just take it all day by day. And it's really getting on her damn nerves. So if I was Emily's friend, I would tell her to walk away, because he's so emotionally closed off, so emotionally unavailable with her. If I was her friend, my advice to her would be, girl, just forget about it. This ain't the one. Because the way you see Brennan now, that's how he's going to be. This very stoic, very closed off, very stubborn, very controlling type of person. This is just who he is. And that's just really sad to me. Let's move on to Austin and Becca, because that's the meat and the potatoes of it all. I want to get into Austin and Becca. So when we see Austin and Becca for the first time in this episode, Becca is crying. And she's really upset because she had a conversation with Austin where he had told her that she was going to go to hell. Why am I laughing? He tells her that she's going to go to hell because she has not accepted Jesus Christ. Now, I can't even believe that we're having this conversation as adults. Now, y'all, first of all, I do not believe that Austin is this religious, because let's not forget when they had the housewarming party and Becca was having a conversation with Austin's best friend, one of his best friends. His best friend was shocked to know that their major issue is religion, because the best friend told Becca, in all the years that I've known Austin, religion has never come up. He has never talked about religion. I didn't know that he was this deep into it for it to cause like a problem in his relationship with you. So I think that Austin is using religion as a way to avoid intimacy with Becca, not just physical intimacy, but even emotional intimacy. I don't think Austin is feeling Becca. I don't think he's attracted to Becca. And so Becca does not get his juices flowing at all. So instead of tackling the real issue, which is probably attraction, he's going to use religion. So he tells her, they had a conversation off camera where he had told her that, look, even though you're going to go to hell because you haven't accepted Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior, I'm still going to love you in this lifetime. So that hurt her feelings, because he sees her as flawed. He sees her as condemned. He sees her as someone who's destined for eternal hell. And so they decide to have an emergency meeting with Pastor Cal. So Pastor Cal listens to this and he's like, look, None of us have been to the afterlife to come back to this life to give a report on what's going to be happening, once we're gone. We don't know anything about the afterlife. Okay, yes, we have our beliefs and so on and so forth, but to base a relationship on the fact that you think your partner is going to burn in eternal hell is just ludicrous. So, so, he says that this is what his church has taught him. He's grown up believing this. And, that, people who haven't accepted Jesus Christ, they go to hell. And so then Pastor Cal is like, is it fair to say that, let's say like someone in the Middle East or whoever, someone who has never been exposed to Christianity, is it really fair to say that they are going to hell because they haven't accepted Christ, because they haven't been exposed to Christ? I mean, is that fair to say? And so as Pastor Cal is talking to them, Austin has his eyes focused on Becca. He's not even looking at Pastor Cal. He's just looking at Becca. And the way his body language was telling me was that he felt like this conversation had nothing to do with him. He thought, he kind of was giving me the impression that in his mind, he's thinking that, Pastor Cal is having a conversation with Becca. He's not really having a conversation. He's got nothing to do with me because I haven't done anything wrong. Becca's the one that needs to listen to this. That's the body. That's what his body language was telling me, because he was sitting there just looking at Becca when Pastor Cal was talking to the both of them. And really, Pastor Cal was addressing this to Austin because he's the one that's, I don't understand how you can tell an adult, as an adult, tell another adult, look, I just think you're going to go to hell. And, even though you're going to burn in the eternal fires of hell, I'm still going to love you. I just can't imagine having that kind of a conversation with somebody. Okay, so after the conversation with Pastor Cal, Becca says, if you think I'm going to hell, then this isn't going to work for me. And Austin, instead of saying, oh, baby, I don't think that anymore, I take it back, I shouldn't have said that, I don't know why I said, instead of like trying to retract what he said, he gets deeper into it and he says, well, I don't know what I think. As if to say, the question is still between us. It's still, a toss up. I don't know what's going to happen to you, Becca, in the afterlife. And so Becca is worried that Austin is going to make religion a priority in their relationship. Well, girl, he already has. He already has, because he's using it as a buffer to avoid getting closer and to avoid really handling the feelings that maybe he is just not feeling you the way he should be feeling you. So then, they're celebrating their 1 month anniversary and they're watching their old, it's only been like not even a month. They're watching their wedding tape, and he was really affectionate with her while they were watching the wedding video. So I was glad to see that. That was showing some type of progress. And then they went ice skating to celebrate their 1 month anniversary. So, I just don't know what to say about Austin and Becca, but let's continue on. So the next time that we see them, Austin is on FaceTime with one of his friends, and she is a Catholic. She's a practicing Catholic. And so they're talking about religion because he had promised Becca that he was going to talk to somebody about his religious issue. And he's been really dragging his feet. And so Becca has to keep reminding him, I'm still waiting for you to talk to someone about this. I'm like, Becca, why? It's not going to change anything, because the issue is not religion. The issue isn't religion. The issue is attraction. So anyways, he's talking to his Catholic friend and he brings up the afterlife and, Becca going to hell. And, the friend is like, from what I know of Becca, she's like a really sweet person. She's very caring. She's very loving. So the friend is saying all of these, wonderful glowing things about Becca, how, what a great person she is. And so the friend is like, I don't believe that Becca is gonna, have a meeting with the devil when she dies. I don't think that's gonna happen. She's just a really nice person. And so I guess the friend, in so many words, as delicately as possible, was trying to tell Austin, man, you need to get off this BS and get with the program and either handle the issue or, appreciate who you have, who you've been matched with. So my question to Austin, if religion is this big of a deal that you're constantly bringing it up, and now you have condemned your wife to, the fires of hell, why didn't you make this an issue with the experts? Like, why didn't you put it down in the application or whatever y'all turn in and say religion is a deal breaker for me? If she has not accepted the Lord and Savior Jesus Christ in her heart of hearts, I don't want nothing to do with her. You have to match me with someone who is just as Christian, fundamentally Christian as I am. Why didn't you just say that, Austin? I'm not understanding why you decided to leave that whole part out, and now you're going to judge her because she's not on the same page as you are religiously. And this is the reason why I'm calling complete and utter BS. Moving on to Claire and Cameron. So they go indoor skiing. And they have a fun time because, who was it? Was it Dr. Pia? Somebody had told him, you need to have more fun, stop analyzing y'all's relationship and having these deep conversations about the relationship and where it's going and how you're feeling. Just live for the moment. And so they decided to go indoor skiing. But they skied for like 3 minutes. And then the rest of the time they talked about their relationship in depth, overly analyzing it. And so they're talking about their relationship. And Claire tells us that, she's noticing that Cameron has kind of checked out because, she's not really feeling the way that he's feeling. And it was really awkward. The way they interact to me has always been kind of awkward. Claire has never really seemed like she was truly comfortable with him. So it was just more awkwardness. So then from there on, they don't even celebrate their 1 month anniversary. They just bypass that whole entire thing. They don't even celebrate their 1 month anniversary. So at some point they have Claire meets up with Lauren and Cameron meets up with Orion. I guess this is just to kind of warm us up to the possibility of Lauren and Orion coming back on the show. So anyway, Cameron tells Orion that when he's reached his limit with Claire, when he's come to that point where he's like, you know what, it's not going to work, I need to leave her, she reels him back in. And then Orion asks him, well, how does she reel you back in? And he says that Claire will say something that will give hope that there's a future for them. And so, or she'll do something. She'll say something or do something to make him think that there's possibly a future for them. And so then he ends up staying. Claire tells Lauren that she doesn't feel like Cameron is really attracted to her. I don't understand why she says that, because there's been times when he's gotten emotional talking about his feelings for her. So I don't know why now someone, I think in my comments in my last review, said something about how Cameron really isn't feeling Claire because I think they said because her butt's too big or something. Like there really isn't an attraction there. I don't know what's going on. So I feel like Cameron has expressed to Claire that he does have feelings for her, because he's told her, I have feelings for you, and this is the reason why I'm struggling, is because I feel for you and you don't feel for me. And when she says I don't think he's attracted to me, like I don't understand where she's getting that from. I don't know, because if he were to touch her, she would get upset. If he crossed those boundaries with her, I'm pretty sure she would get upset. So he can't like physically show her. I don't know if she's wanting him to like sing her praises and be like, oh my God, you're so beautiful. You're ravishing. You're the most beautiful one I've ever seen. I don't know what she's expecting him to say, but I feel like in his own Cameron way, he has expressed to her that he's attracted and that he's interested. So Lauren tells her that she should basically just stick it out. So they're back at the apartment, and Claire says that Cameron sent her a text saying that he's not coming back home. And so she says she's really hurt by that, because she does want to work on their relationship. So it did hurt her feelings that he wasn't going to come back home. Cameron told her in the text that because he's getting so attached to her, he thinks that it's a good idea for him to keep his distance. And so, yeah, she feels bad about it, but what can you say? It is what it is. But we find out what really happens to them later on. But first, let's talk about Michael. So Michael is the one that got stood up at the altar, and he's out with his friends. He's having drinks with his friends, and he's telling his friends, hey, what if I told y'all that they're going to give me a second chance? And his friends are kind of worried about it, because they saw how devastated he was when the first bride rejected him. And so they're really not sure. They're really not sure on the experts. They're like, look, they messed up with you really bad before, and we don't want you to go through that again at their expense, because they don't seem to know what the hell they're doing. So who should show up at this little drink thing other than Dr. Pepper. So Dr. Pepper shows up and Michael's like, oh, I'm so glad you're here because my friends have some questions for you. So Dr. Pepper was like, well, I can answer some of them. And so she sits down with them and they're basically like, hey, he was in a really dark place when that first bride rejected him. He said this was like the worst that he's ever been through in his life. And so what guarantee can we get from you and your cohorts that y'all are not going to hurt our boy again? Because we don't want to see him to go through that pain again. So Dr. Pepper says something about how, they really listened to him when he explained to them what kind of woman he's looking for, so they're really going to do their best, or they've done their best in finding that type of woman that he wants exactly, which is somebody who's really sweet, but also really fun and playful and silly, etc. So Dr. Pepper says that they have matched him and that he will be getting married again. So we're looking forward to that. Now, at the very end of the episode, we have the big group dinner with all the couples, which is 3 couples. Really 2.5, because Claire and Cameron announced their separation. So at the group dinner, they were asking each other questions, like, what would you do differently? What advice would you give yourself before going into this process if you could go back in time, et cetera, et cetera. Everybody's participating. Everybody's, giving answers except for Brennan. Brennan is very closed off. Brennan acts like he doesn't even want to be there because he's dressed like he's, he just lost his job or something, like he's absolutely unemployed. He shows up in some hoodie shirt with the green t-shirt underneath. It was just like he's just so dressed down where everybody else was dressed up. He was so dressed down, like he didn't want to be there, like he's gotta hurry up and go on Indeed.com, and like after the dinner and look for another job or something. So a question came up about so after Claire and Cameron announced that they were going to separate, Claire turns over to Emily and Brennan and says, so what do y'all have to say, over there in the quiet corner, because Brennan wasn't really saying much. And so Brennan says the thing that gets Emily so riled up. He tells the group, well, we're struggling too, but we're taking it day by day. And what's her name? Emily hates that because it doesn't really convey what they've really been going through. It's like, in a way, he's very, like, he minimizes all that they've been going through, the ups, the downs. And she says, we've made progress in some areas. In some areas, yes, we're still struggling. And it just irks her to no end that he doesn't have more to say. She even compared him to, what's his name? Austin, who doesn't talk much. She's like, even Austin expressed himself a whole lot more during this dinner than Brennan did. And Austin rarely talks. So she was making all these faces because she wanted to just explode and turn that table over whenever he said, well, we're just taking it day by day. And so she gets upset. She gets up and she leaves the table. She excuses herself. And Brennan was like, okay, let me follow you. And she's like, no, you will not. And so she leaves. And then Claire goes to follow her. And, she expresses to Claire her frustration that he doesn't express his emotions. He doesn't open up. He doesn't get deep. He's so closed off. She doesn't know if she's coming or going with him. Like, she's doing everything that she can possibly do to help this relationship, and he's just so distant because he's not interested. There's nothing to work on. It's over. Okay, it's over. He's the kind of guy where he needs to be like physically stimulated and to show any interest in a woman, and he doesn't know that it's more than that. He has to have the looks. He has to have that instant physical attraction for him to get to the next step. And if he doesn't have it, it's not going to go anywhere. So I wish that Married at First Sight would have like 6 couples and then have 3 couples matched on the criteria of the experts, and then 3 couples matched on just physicality. And then from those couples, let's see which one is going to make it to decision, which one's going to make it to staying married, right? That's what I want to see, because everybody is so focused, hyper focused on looks and attraction and sex appeal. And, is my partner hot enough? Is this something that I would date in real life? And They're so hyper focused on the outside and the physical. Then let's put it to the test and see, compare to people who are matched based purely on physical attraction and people who are matched on a much deeper level, which one is really going to make it. That should be the experiment. And then go from there to prove the experts wrong or right. Because I'm sick and tired of these marriages constantly failing on physicality. Physicality, that's all it is. People don't want to move in with their partners because they're not attracted to their partners. People not willing to try anything because they're just, I'm so sick and tired of seeing that. Give these people what they want. You want somebody hot and spicy and, someone that's just going to get your juices flowing and you're just going to be so magnetically drawn to them. Give them that and see how it works out. But anywho, so Claire is talking to Emily, and Emily's talking about how he's so closed off and she's so frustrated with him. So then Brennan approaches and Claire tells Brennan, she's really into you and she's hurt. She's so hurt because she feels like, whatever, you're not communicating enough or whatever. And I was like, girl, why would you tell him that? Why would you say that to him? Oh, she's so into you. She really likes you, but you're just not, doing enough for her. And he tells Claire, oh, I can't tell. What? Okay. So he's determined to get an answer from her, from Emily, because he says, he really wants this to work. Divorce is not an option for him. So he doesn't want to let her go, which is like, he said more right there than he's ever said to her. Like, why don't you tell her that? Like, you know what? We're struggling, but I don't want to get a divorce. I want to be with you. I don't want to let you go. I want to make this work. Why don't you tell her that instead of telling the camera that? So he chases her down the sidewalk. They finally get in the car. They're talking and she's telling him, you're just not giving enough. And it's embarrassing for me. She pours out her heart of the ups and the downs, and all he can say is the bare minimum, and it's getting on her nerves. Like, he's just not doing enough. He's not opening up enough. Like, he doesn't care. And he's like, I don't know what I'm going to do. That's all I got to say. That's all I have to say. But he had just said a whole lot more than that to us. When he said, I'm not going to give up on her. I don't want to let her go. I don't want to get a divorce. Why didn't you tell her that? Anywho, that is my review. Thank you so much for joining me. I really do appreciate it. On your way out, please don't forget to rate the video if you like this content. Subscribe to my channel, and I'll definitely talk to you later. Bye.